I suffered 18 fractures on my skull. My eyes were depressed. I had 3 ribs broken and 1 pierced my lungs. Injury that changed my life was the spinal cord because my spinal cord was broken at my T5, T6 level.
The life after that. How did you see the world and what was the reaction of your parents and the people around you?
When I used to tell people that I can't feel my legs, the first thing they would come and do is what, touch my leg. Oh, you can't feel that?
I mean, imagine when they know that you can't feel anything and, oh, you can't feel your legs. It's not like you are lying.
Everything is gone. Now what is the point of living? I used to Google easiest ways to die.
Welcome to Against All Odds with Yasir Khan. And today I have a very special guest that I actually need a paper to describe all his achievements. So let me just start with Guinness World Record holder 2023, world record for the largest GPS drawing by person of determination in a wheelchair. Winner of Most Inspirational Personality 2017, first person of determination in a wheelchair to become a personal trainer in Dubai. Fitness influencer in UAE, 3 times TEDx speaker. Wow, that's
Thank you.
that's amazing. Welcome to TYB, and trust me, I'm so excited for this podcast because I want to know so much from you, and I want to inspire all the audience and everyone. So, tell me about yourself.
This is going to be a very interesting one because I am looking forward to knowing so much about you. I mean, you're such a big legend. The things that you have done, the work that you have done, the examples that you have set. I mean, you're a huge inspiration for like thousands out there, and I'm sure you know this. And TYB growing by the day, and now I think it's gone to the next level. So, firstly, a huge congratulations to you, my friend.
Thank you.
And secondly, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's actually an absolute pleasure, and I've been waiting to talk to this guy. So
The pleasure is all mine. Trust me.
Thank you so much. So I am a Dubai-born kid, born and raised here, Dubai, till my about 9th, 10th grade. And then I packed off to India for a couple of years in my schooling for my 3 years of my rest of my education. And then Bangalore is where I did my college. I did my bachelor's in commerce in 2010 to 2013. So fast forward, in school is where I was athletics, because since we're talking about fitness and all of this, basketball was my first sport. So the reason I'm saying that I had a huge impact on me as a kid, like in terms of sports, because I got involved in sports, the feel changes of an individual, like when you're involved in something and it's a sport, it makes you mentally feel better about a lot more things, So basketball was my sport. And in college, I don't know if you know this, but I was in a boxing academy. Unfortunately, it was only in my second year end. I say unfortunately because I wish it happened in the first year. Second year mid is where I got introduced to boxing. I wish I knew it earlier, and so, I mean, I was in boxing. That was another league of things altogether.
And how were you as a boxer? Because I'm interested to know that because I have practiced myself.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was never a gymming person until this phase of life, basketball was just all super endurance training and cardio workouts, like climbing, running up hills in Kerala, coming down, that was the cardio for basketball. But in college, I remember I got introduced because of a person who said they were going, a very close friend of mine, of my batchmate, and NGV in Bangalore is where they had the boxing training going on. And the first time I went for the training, I was dead. Boxing, what I learned at that moment of time was like, it was only 20% boxing.
Yeah.
80% was breaking your body in ways you can't imagine.
Mostly like building your stamina.
Yes. And for me, it was like, crawling on the sand, tiptoeing on the sand, jogging for kilometers on your toes, sprinting. Man, the training was so, I fell in love with it. Like, I think that is when the first time I realized where I think I got my trip of pushing your body, which you will like, because your body is so dead and you like this and you're like, man, I got to get better, And the training was obviously phenomenal. I did it for a good couple of, I would say close to a year, but I would say boxing transformed me completely as a person as well, because I was a very aggressive kid. I was very impulsive. So that was me as a kid. And boxing calmed me down completely. I would never enter into something without giving two thoughts about it, whether it be physical or not. So this is the thing I love to tell people, because when you learn a martial art, right, and you're physically capable of doing some damage to somebody and you are trained for it, you wouldn't touch your hands just like that to anybody.
That's so true. My experience when it comes to boxing, which I always tell people, it doesn't matter how hard you train and it doesn't matter how much you practice, even boxing or any sports, until you get the get that first punch on your face,
Right.
then you realize, how it feels.
Yeah.
So when I got that, and I was like literally seeing stars, because the guy was like literally 10 to 15 kgs heavier than me, and he was a professional boxer. And he hit me so hard that my jaw was like, I literally was fixing it for a while, and then I got back in that fight. So I think, especially in the boxing, apart from just the training, when you get that one hit,
Right.
and then you realize, okay, this is the reality.
I like what you said. I love that example you brought, because in any fight, right, it's who decides the winner or the loser.
Yeah.
It is the person. The person himself decides if I'm going to be a winner or loser. And now, if you're going into the core technicality of it, let's say physically two people are fighting right now. The first guy hits, second guy hits. And both are still going back.
Yeah.
After a certain point of time in that fight, one of them will be like, oh, damn, I'm getting hurt.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That feeling comes inside. Man,
Exactly.
I'm actually getting really hurt. And they start getting concerned.
Yes.
That second, that person loses that fight. That's why
Absolutely.
they say the only person who wins a fight is the one who's willing to die.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how much are you ready to lose?
How much are you ready to
You know? And that taught me a lot in my life. That's what I implement in the business also.
Right.
That how much are you ready to lose? It's usually people always, when they want to start something, they always want to know, okay, what am I gaining in this, and how much am I making in this? What kind of salary are you going to give me, even if I hire people, or even the clients in 3 months, 4 months time? What kind of results are you going to give me? But the right attitude is, okay, in 3 months or 4 months time, how much can I commit to this program, right? How can I add value to your work? What kind of money you will provide me, or what kind of salary will you give me? The same thing when it comes to business partners, that if your dream are so big, you have many dreams, and if I add value to one of your dream, and if I invest or do something, how can we change the world? So these are the people I look forward to meet or work or associate with, because that's the right attitude. That's what I have learned from my fighting days as well. This, I should not even say this to you, because you are a winner, you are fighting. What was your age that time when you were actually playing basketball and you were doing boxing?
Basketball was in my school days, so that was like 16, 17.
16, 17.
16, 17
Okay.
years of age is when I was in my school team
Okay.
basketball. And about 20 is when I was in boxing. I was a different character altogether. I used to look forward to my 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock boxing
Yeah.
sessions. I didn't have much. So I'll tell you another story. Just to add along to this, because my mom and dad did not approve of this. So they were not supportive of the fact that I was going for a martial art fighting classes or boxing. So the coach, the first day I landed in NGV, I told him, I'm going to give you the money from the monthly income. Being in Bangalore, you have a monthly amount of money coming into your account. I have to split it for rent, bike, fuel, all of these things, right? And I told him, I'll give you the money, but it might be a little late. All the guy told me was like, if you come every day, don't even worry about the money, but just be regular. Like his goal was to train me. His goal was not like, I need the money, I need the money. It was like, you just come regularly and train. And, and he saw me training because my mom and dad did not, fund me extra. I had to take it from my own pocket. And the guy was very supportive for me that way. And I used to walk about, I think, half a kilometer, 1 kilometer to a certain place, like a junction. And then another guy who was going to the class would come and pick me up. So I would then get on with the bike and then go to work out. And then he would either drop me back or either drop me again halfway and I walk back. So the commitment and the love and the dedication for that sport, I would do anything. And thankfully, I had supportive coaches as well. Yeah. And at that age, when I was in the boxing class, we were about 10 to 12 students in one class. So the way boxing class starts is like 100-meter sprint, 4 rounds of 100-meter sprint with 20 seconds break each.
Yes.
Like the first time I did it, so the first day of my boxing, it was like, I started sprinting and I beat everybody. I'm like, that's it. Coach, the next thing I hear coach saying, 20 seconds on the clock, get ready. I'm like, what do you mean 20 seconds? He's like, we're going round 2. And then round 3 happened. And then round 4 happened. And round 3, I'm the last person. Round 4, I'm the last person. And I am panting and dying. This is training. This is really pushing your body.
What exactly is your age?
I am 31.
You were in boxing
20.
At the age of 20. Okay. I would like to know that when this accident happened to you, and what exactly happened and what age?
Accident happened in the same age of 20 years old. I was in my final year of college, 2013, March 31st. And it's like literally 4 days or 5 days before my final exams. So after the exams, I was done, and the entire plan was then to come back to Dubai. And in the final year, like I said, on March 31st, I had a bike accident. All I remember of that night was, so we have these things like, 2 o'clock ka chai with a bunch of friends. Everyone was with friends, same way. Yeah, I was in one person's house. There was a couple of people, and after a while, we took our bikes out, saying we'll go to St. John's Hospital, which is close by, and there's a chai wala over there at 2, 3 o'clock in the night. And I was like, let's go. That is the only memory I have of that night. The next memory till date for me is waking up in a hospital bed. And when I woke up, I saw my family, everybody around me, like my mom, dad, sisters, and I'm like, what are all they doing in India? Because everybody's in Dubai, everyone's based in Dubai. Only I was in India, and I was staying by myself with friends and all. And, and I'm looking at my mom, and I remember the first question was asked by my mom, "Can you see me?" And I just nodded. I couldn't speak. I couldn't do anything. There was tubes down my throat and my nose, and I just nodded. And then my dad asked me, "Do you recognize who we are?" And I said, "Yeah." And I just nodded, and I passed out. So the next day I woke up. I remember seeing them again for 5, 10 seconds. I could barely speak. They were just around the bed for like 5, 10 minutes, and then they had to leave. So for 2 weeks, I was in that ICU. Okay. I did not know what happened. Suddenly, and then I think third or fourth day is when my brother-in-law, who was also there, he just said that, Sujit, very calmly, Sujit, you had an accident. You're in the hospital. Now we're taking care of you. And when I got the ability, like, to even react and start asking one or two questions, was when I asked them to do. I was like, "What are you guys doing? Go back. I'll fix myself." I have no idea what happened, but I know I'm in so much of pain. My body cannot move. Like, I cannot have anyone even touch me. I have no idea what happened, but this is my state. And it took me, I think, about 3 weeks to even know that I had a major bike accident and I was in coma for 4 days. So the day I remember seeing my mom and asking that question, that was the fourth day since March 31st.
Okay.
So that is my first memory. And after 2 weeks, so the 2 weeks I was in the ICU is because I was on a ventilator. I was on artificial life support. And the fourth day, the doctor was like, if he's still not going to get up, we might have to do a tracheostomy. Thankfully, that did not happen. That's when I got up. After spending then another 2 weeks, I was then moved to the ward. So what happened is I suffered 18 fractures on my skull on the right side. I don't know if you can see the mark, but it starts from here and it goes. So that was 18 fractures. My eyes were depressed. I had 3 ribs broken and 1 pierced my lungs. I had my spinal cord. The injury that changed my life was the spinal cord because my spinal cord was broken at my T5, T6 level.
Okay.
And because my spine being injured is why I'm in a wheelchair. So I got paralyzed below my waist. And initially, when someone tells you, nobody told me this. Everyone was very quiet because nobody wanted to give me that trauma, that pressure. I just knew few things like mom is touching my leg. I can't feel it. Someone's touching, someone's pinching, no idea, but I'm in so much of pain. So the reason I was also only seeing people 5, 10 minutes a day is because I was on high doses of morphine because of the big surgeries. I had a 12-hour surgery, 6 hours for my skull, 6 hours for my implanting 2 rods on my spine. So this was how the first 1 month went. So many people coming to the hospital to see me. So many people asking me, Sujit, what happened? What happened? And I'm like, I don't know. Till date, it's like a complete blank for me. And then after the first month, I spent 3 months in Vellore, in CMC Vellore for rehabilitation. So that is where I think I understood the gravity of my injury because, till then I was in a bed just lying down. But in Vellore, they taught me rehabilitation, how to even pick things from the ground. Yasir, like how to move from a chair to a sofa or a bed or a car. And these things were impossible at that time. Like I wouldn't just leave my hands without holding on to something. Like at that time, if I left my hand, I would just fall. Like there was no balance because T5, T6, as you know, is a very high level.
Yes.
And, I would fall and they just taught me everything how you teach a baby how to do. So this was how it was for the first 4 months of my life after the accident.
And you were in your 20s that time?
I turned 21 in the hospital, in the first hospital after the ICU.
First of all, it's like, I'm really sorry for you, but at the same time, whatever you have achieved, look at this and what you have become right now.
It's a miracle.
Whenever I decide to do something, I always push myself, but I can just feel it, how much you must have pushed yourself to reach where you are. And after going through so much, I have more and more respect for you now after knowing this story, which I would love to know even little more details about it, because it's something which has changed your life, right? There are people, some of them are like they're born like this, and some of these things happen to them when they're very young. And this happened to you at the age of 20. You have seen the world and you had dreams and you wanted to be something, you wanted to go places, you wanted to do, I mean, you were like you were a man. You were literally a man. You were not even in your teenage. You started your 20s, early 20s.
Amount of excitement.
You're a rebel at that time. You just want to go against everything and just prove your point right. So the last memory you had, like you were leaving with your friends.
Till the night of that accident, I remember where I was in that person's house.
No, but how did this happen, the accident?
No,
Do
that's
you remember?
blank. That's
Nothing.
completely blank. But what I was told was that I was going under a tunnel in Madiwala and my bike lost control because my crash guard hit a
And
truck.
you were driving?
I was driving the bike. The crash guard hit a truck. And that's where my bike lost control. Was probably in a good speed. I don't know what's the speed, but my crash guard hit, and then my crashed into a wall, a shop's wall, and the wall broke and it fell on me. And I did not have a helmet.
A wall.
A wall, a shop's wall broke and it fell on me because I crashed straight with the bike into the wall, and that's how my head got these many fractures.
And you were not wearing a helmet, right?
No, I was not wearing a helmet. Like I said, it was that age, just rebellious, not giving a damn, speeding. It was at that time, and that's what happened. And then my friends, there was another bike on the side with two bikes were there, and they came immediately and they took me and my friend who was on the bike with me to St. John's Hospital. As soon as we reached St. John's, so the friend who was with me, she wasn't breathing. They took her to the ICU immediately and they were pumping air into her lungs and all. And thankfully today she's fine.
She's fine.
She's fine. But for me, so as soon as they took her, the ICU got full. So they were like, we don't have place for him. But she looked bad on the outside. I looked fine on the outside, but I was messed up inside. Yeah. This is not clearly visible to people. And I was kept in the lobby of St. John's Hospital for 4 hours until finally my cousin sister, who was in Bangalore, when people contacted people, she came and she started creating a havoc. Like, what are you guys doing? It's about 4 hours. Somebody treat him. Finally, they called Fortis Hospital at 7 o'clock in the morning, and Fortis Hospital took me. When Fortis Hospital took me in the morning, they saw me breathing very badly. And then when they did some scans, they understood there's a rib pierced my lungs and he's not getting oxygen. So they fixed that first, right?
Yeah, then you went through everything. So after your rehab, you have gone through, I think, 4 months.
4 months total. Yeah.
4 months you were there. The life after that. How did you see the world, and what was the reaction of your parents and the people around you, and how you took it, and how did you handle all of this and reach here?
The most sad realization of certain things was when I got home. When I came to the outside world, like now I'm with general public. Till then I'm in hospitals.
Yeah.
When I'm in general public, everything hit different. Because in a hospital, you will see 10 people in a wheelchair with you. People are there taking care of you. People are not going to stare at you. When you come in the outside world, I was the only person in a wheelchair and everybody else was walking. Suddenly, I was looked at very differently. Like, I wouldn't say negative, I would say sympathetically. Yeah. And every single one I knew was giving me sympathy. Not my family, but distant relatives. Yeah. So many other people who I never knew, but someone knew my someone and wanted to see what happened to Varghese's son, and they would come to visit. And I always remember for months, I had so many visitors. That's when I understood even the problem of accessibility. My entire house was not accessible. We had steps to go into home. You know how it is. You don't think about it. But sadly, when I got in a wheelchair, I need people to pick me up, put me into certain platforms in my house because the surface wasn't leveled. And so we got ramps involved. We had to remodify the house a bit, make washrooms more accessible for me. So that was taken care of. But then the worst part for me at that time was when people used to come and visit me, and the minute everyone sees me, same questions, Yasir, the same thing. What happened? Who were you with? Who is that person that was with you? You can never walk again. And the most disturbing part for me at that phase was, can you believe it? And I'm telling you honestly, when I used to tell people that I can't feel my legs, the first thing they would come and do is what, touch my leg. Oh, you can't feel that? This is how I got for a very long time. Before I started reacting to people, no, I cannot feel it. Why are you coming and touching it? Exactly. And it's like, I know people cannot believe it, but it's not a nice thing to do to someone, and same thing over and over again. And finally I used to tell mom, I don't want to see anyone. I don't want sympathy. The minute people would come, they would be fine. And suddenly they see me, everyone has a sad face. And one thing people used to do is like, tells me, I know somebody else's son, he had an accident and his is even worse.
I mean,
This is the worst example you can give somebody. You know, putting another person. So I tell him, today you're telling me about that guy so that I feel better. Tomorrow you will tell about me to somebody else who has a lower injury, like who's much better than me physically, like in terms of the injury, and you will tell him about me is to make him feel better.
Yeah.
The worst example someone can do, and people do that.
When you share with them that something happened to you and the way they react, and if they put themselves first and they feel like, oh, you know what happened to me, or what happened to someone I know, it's, I think, one of the worst thing one can do, because it's clearly that they are not listening to you and they don't care about you. And we are meeting for the first time, so you don't know me personally that well, but I am one guy who is like, when it comes to work, my doors are open. When it's not work, no one can come close to me, no one can talk to me, no one can call me, message me, or there's no access in my life. I'm all alone in my closed walls. I do what I want, and that's the freedom I seek for, and that's how I've created it. The reason is this: because I don't want people to behave the way they do it. You know, it's something, I'm there to help. If you need my help, I'm there to help. And if I'm not there to help, it means I'm not accessible. Simple. I don't want anything from you. Do not come to me and tell me, oh, so sad, oh my god, oh, how did you do this, it must have been really tough, right? It's okay, fine. So these are the things, I think you have said it very well. Especially, I mean, imagine, and what I'm saying is like something very small, what you described, that when they know that your leg, you can't feel anything, and oh, you can't feel your legs, when you know you cannot feel, and someone is touching, oh, you can't. It's not like you are lying or something, like you're telling, okay, no, I can feel it, but I just don't want to tell you.
You know, I don't know people, I don't really understand, but I think it was a very typical Kerala mentality. Some group people are there. I'm not categorizing Kerala right now, but since I'm from the place, I can openly tell you I know the mindsets of people. These were the people, you know. And then initially, after a while, when it started getting to my nerves, so this is one section of what I was going through initially. Was the accessibility problems. Secondly, was the people's reaction. Thirdly, was Yasir, when I was in Bangalore, I was killing it. In terms of, you know, boxing made me feel untouchable. I made sure everyone knew I was a tough guy. You know, that's always the attitude I carried. I'm a tough guy. You cannot just mess with me, right? And people treated me that way. I'm not a gunda, but you know, if you want to mess with me, I would make sure people have to think twice. So that's the pride or whatever I had at that childish age of mine, you know. And I was partying, I was living on top of the life. I felt I was the king. You know, I was the peak of my life at the age of 21. I felt I had it all. And I think a lot of people feel at that college prime age that, dude, get your first car or your bike, you're racing in the streets, you got thousands of friends. Oh man, I used to love racing. I used to love speed. I still do love speed, but bikes was my hardcore love. It still is. I still will ride. A lot of people ask me, will you ride after an accident? I definitely say yes. That's not going to stop me, definitely. It's my love, you know. It's not because of a bike, it's because of probably certain things I did that night. Maybe it's because of the speed, maybe it's because of something. I'm not sure. But it's again, that's another topic altogether. So me at that, you know, felt I had like 1,000 friends. Suddenly I find myself in Kerala. Oh, one more thing. My mom, it's just me and my mom, by the way. Because my dad and my sisters are back in Dubai and they're working. They had jobs. Mom retired by that time. So it was me and mom. She was taking care of me. And I thought I had thousands of friends and I was just waiting, man, maybe this will just finish tomorrow. Like this whole paralysis, there'll be a solution for it. And I'll get back to whatever I was doing. And then I used to call all my friends almost every other day. Hey, man, they're like, oh, dude, man, we miss you. We should come back. We'll party. You should come back, man. So then I spoke to one senior of mine one day and I was connecting with a lot of people, you know, when they heard about the accident, thousands of messages coming inside. And I remember connecting to this one senior of mine, Kenneth. Now, Kenneth was a guy, when I was in 10th, my first school after I left Dubai, he was like 3 years my senior. Man, stud is an understatement for this guy. This guy, like, I think close to 6 feet, sharp freaking posture, slim, but built mad crazy into military. He wanted to be a military dude, had the same cut, had killer looks. And the guy was I would say, A game, you know, if you had to say he was the A game of that school. When he was in Pune, and I heard this long back, but I was never close to Kenneth. You know, he was just my 3 years senior, but everyone knew him. And he apparently a couple of years ago when he was in Pune, a car while he was on a bike came and crashed into him. It was a hit and run case, and he got paralyzed. But his injury was a spinal cord injury as well, and it was a C level, cervical level injury. And I had no idea about that much. I just knew something had happened to Kenneth, but it's not so close that you asked so many details. Many years ago, Kenneth connected with me. I'm like, dude, it's the same guy. And when I had my injury, his was already 5 years. He's like, from 5 years, I'm in a bed.
5 years.
I got the shock of my life when I saw a picture of him. I got the shock of my life. I'm like, this guy was, dude, like there. And when I saw him on that bed, he's become bones. Like literally, this is his size. Like this is his body size. And he's on a bed, and it's just him and his mom. His dad is not in the picture. And he wasn't doing great at all. Like he became completely negative. And then I was just texting. I'm like, no, man, but I got so many friends, they're just waiting to get back. Like that was my excitement, at least I need to be back in the place. At least something I should feel back. He's like, I just have one question for you. I said, what? Are you calling them or are they calling you? I'm like, wait, think about it. Oh, wait, I'm calling them. Stop calling them. Let's see how many calls back. I was like, what difference it makes? I call you, you call me. No, just stop calling them. Let's see how many calls back. Yeah, sir, I did that. I barely got 1 or 2 calls back. That was a big hit in my life. When I saw that, I was like, are you serious? All the things I thought I was, all the things I did, all the people I thought, gone. And I was forgotten. And suddenly even these guys are calling, and all is about sob stories and are you fine, wheelchair. It became, everything changed. So that was a big second hit for me. I got into loneliness. I used to be seeking out for people on Facebook, either my juniors or my batchmates, some random friends I had on Facebook, just to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And I was on a bed all day. Like I had nothing to do. Wake up in the morning, this. So when all this was going bad, already people's side, I felt I have nobody. One guy comes to my house and he's like, to my mom, Mama, we have, there might be a solution in Ayurveda for Sujith. What is the thing? There is a Natavaidyan. You know the Natavaidyans are?
No.
Natavaidyans are like, these old Ayurvedic doctors who will, some of them say they will come touch your this and they will tell you all the problems. Like this very traditional thing, okay?
Yes.
And I have zero knowledge about any of this. Neither does my folks have much. But it was like, this guy has healed someone like this. Let me bring him to your house. This guy comes very old, little older man, wearing a munda, lungi, and he just comes home and he sees me, talks to my mom, and then he starts telling, okay, so these are your problems. And he tells my mom, I can fix this guy, but it'll cost a bit. Yeah, like, dude, whatever it takes, it's money is not the problem. Fine, we want to get him fixed. And I'm like, wow, this is like the first big ray of sunlight that came into my life after, I think, 6 months down the injury. I think my injury happened on March. This is happening about August, September, I would say. Yeah. So I'm like, wow, perfect. This is exactly what I need. I'm going to get better. He's like, but there are certain rules. Fine, what are the rules? Now, this is going to be the most bizarre part of the podcast, I think. The rules were, and you should know, I was desperate to walk at the age of 21. Whoever's seen Sujith shouldn't see Sujith again for until the treatment is over. Meaning, bad eyes shouldn't happen. That is one. So only his mom is allowed to see him. That means I had no interactions with people at all, like face to face. Second thing, he should be on a patyam. Patyam is a diet. For Ayurveda, we have diet. We cut out meat and things like that, right?
Okay.
But this guy's diet was on the way other extreme. It was like I was only eating dosa and dosa and sugar for the first 3 months as breakfast.
Okay.
And my lunch and my dinner was rice and lady finger gravy. I was given fish once in 2 weeks or something like that. Okay, for one meal. No fruits, no vegetables, no milk, no dairy, nothing. Mm-hmm. So now what happens to that body, which is already gone weak? Every nutrition is already sucked out of my diet.
Yes.
It gets even worse. The third thing was, he should be in an oil treatment in a Tony. So we had one of the room converted for the treatment. Yeah. And I was kept on this wooden plank, this big wooden, big wooden table.
Okay.
And, it had little small curves on the edge.
Yeah.
And the oil would be there. I would be massaged and I had to lay over there for 6 hours, 9 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. And then in between, he would come do his treatment early in the morning, and then be there for a couple of hours, and then he would leave. And we paid him a bomb. We paid him, I think, close to 20 lakh rupees for the entire thing, couple of months. First, he's like, it'll just be a lakh and a half. But I think then he started seeing the house. He started seeing we were desperate.
Yes.
Now, where he did things wrong was when he used to come. So now, Yasir, like I told you when we were speaking before camera, when you're in a spinal cord injury, your senses are not there. The bones are, the skin and the muscles are not firm. So what happens when you press your elbow on any hard surface for a very long time? You can press it for a while. After 5 seconds, you get irritation, you move, right? Yes. That is your senses saying you're in pain, and that bone is
nervous system is involved.
Yes, that bone is pressing through your skin and flesh, and it's hurting you.
Yes.
What happens when that happens to your lower back, and you wouldn't feel the pain, but the injury is happening. That's what was happening to me. And on top of that, because I was on a wooden plank, you're not supposed to sit on a wooden plank, which is a hard surface. Yes. That's why spinal cord injury, they have special cushions. Their beds are cushioned. Like my bed is air bed. I'm sitting on a special medicated cushion. So it's important. I cannot just go sit on any hard surface. Yes. And the third thing was when he used to come with his hand over here on my thighs, he used to be hitting like this.
Okay.
Saying that will be the reason for your blood circulation to come to the entire body. If I hit you 5 times like this, you can take it. 6th time, you will be like, Sujith, stop it, it's hurting.
Yeah.
Same thing, like I said, example. I would not feel the pain if you hit me 1,000 times. Yeah. So he used to do this. 3 months, 1 month, 2 months, 3rd month when it became, I slowly started getting fever. And my skin color started changing on 3 areas, like on both my thighs and my back.
Okay.
And he was like, no, this is just the poison or whatever has to go out of the body. Some random logic he bought. See, I was that desperate, Yasir. If you tell me to drink poison this much, but you'll survive, but you'll walk, I would do it. I was 21 and you can't take this at that age.
Yes.
I started getting fever started becoming bad, but he's like, you cannot go to the hospital because if you go to the hospital, they will put injections and medicines in you, and that will repel my treatment.
Yeah.
So because of that, I didn't go to the hospital. He bought some Ayurvedic medicines to subdue my fever, but then it just getting worse and worse and worse. And I remember one day, the 1 week I think before that, was when my mom was like, you know what, let's just take a blood test and see that we're not putting anything in her body. She calls a nurse, and I'm so weak. And I remember I was like this, in a blanket on top of me, and the nurse comes to take my blood, and she couldn't find any vein. And then I remember, I don't know if this is going to be believable or not, but I saw it in my life, and I saw it happen to me. So I am telling you with honesty, I saw her put a needle inside my vein, and she sucked it out and nothing came out. And then in 2 hours, she called a senior nurse they came home, and she got one from here. Like she got blood. They went it, I think after 3 hours or 4 hours, they called my mom. She's like, what's wrong with you? This guy's got a blood infection level of 146. Take him to the hospital immediately. And then we told the Vaidyan, he gave an excuse, something. I used to be the last week before we stopped everything was when I used to be holding every 10-20 minutes hot cup like of water, hot water I used to be drinking just to subdue the fever. I remember 5 blankets on top of me for the first time since being a child or a kid. I asked my sister, can you please hug me on top of the 5 blankets because I want to feel the warmth. Like that is what I went through. And finally, one day when I'm still going through it, thinking this will probably stop. Things will get better. I will actually start feeling something in my legs, or my legs will start moving, I went again one day, 9 o'clock, got up, went on the wooden plank. She came to feed me. Same appam. Fed me. The first thing I took, I puked everything out. Mom said, done and done. Enough. Like, let's put a line. Let's take you to the hospital, see what's going wrong. Took me 2 hours to get out of that table. And when I sat down, for the first time, I realized that time I can't see color. Oof. I became colorblind. My cousin brothers came to take me. I couldn't see. All I could see was shadows and light. I got in the car. I went to the hospital. Doctor analyzed me, I think, for 10-15 minutes. The next thing I know, he is shouting at my mother. What is wrong with you? Yeah. What did you do to this child? And then immediately transferred to the ICU. Immediately to the ICU. I was there in the ICU for 3 days with blood transfusions going back and forth, blood being pumped into my body constantly. For like 3 days this happened. Then a senior doctor came, then told me what's wrong. Then we moved me to the ward and in my room. In my room, when the doctor came and analyzed, and they told my mom, you see these black things that's on his thigh? Well, this is dead flesh. It is injured and the flesh died.
Died.
It died. And we cannot keep it in the body. We'll have to cut it out.
Okay.
And since I don't have sensation, I used to see this happening in front of me. I'm saying is, I've seen a knife being taken and my thigh being cut out every single day.
And you didn't feel anything.
I didn't feel anything. So imagine what happened to my heart. I became so stone cold.
Yes.
If I can see that happening to myself, I can't feel it as anything, but I can see that much of graphic, no? Dude, I became cold. Every day the doctor, because they're not going to do it in one shot, but bits by bits, they'll see this white stuff, they'll have to take it off the flesh. By the time they did all of this, which took about a couple of weeks, and I was on constant antibiotics and trips because the infection has been taken over the body, right? Yes. That has to be controlled. And even after 2 weeks of all of this, my infection was only controlled. It was not like completely gone. And then after the every procedure was done, there was 3 holes in my body. Basically, you could fit a palm inside my hand because there's a actual curve like that. That much is gone. They're like, we have to do a plastic surgery. This will not naturally heal because it's that big of a pressure sore. So we have to do plastic surgeries. Now, because of that, like I said earlier, I had 2 surgeries, right? Which was the head surgery and the back. For fixing these wounds in a span of 4 years, I've underwent 16 more surgeries. So in total, I had 18 surgeries.
18 surgeries.
Total 18 surgeries, the head and the back. But just to fix these 3 wounds, in Bangalore, I did surgeries. In Kerala, I did surgeries. And finally, in Dubai is when one of my wound finally completely closed. But it was a total of 16 procedures.
And it took you 6 years.
Yeah, total. Because from 14 is when I immediately got admitted to a hospital for 3 months in the same room. I had, I think, about 4 or 5 surgeries over there because it kept failing. Some places the body is not accepting the flesh. So at this time, just people to understand, it's like a muscle is taken from certain part of the leg and placed it. So the wound has to heal. So that's how grafting is done. You have to take a piece of flesh, move it through the side of the body, take a muscle so the blood supply is there. Only then that particular wound will heal. So many of the times, many things kept getting failed. One side getting filled, then again they're opening it up, then again they're opening it up. So yeah, man, like
it took a lot of work.
A lot of me, it took a lot of time.
I think along with you, I mean, of course, you have gone through a lot and you have faced all the hardships and, the pain and the surgeries. And of course, what you just described, what you were doing the 3 months, this guy, I think I have, of course, as you're describing this, I have more and more respect for you. But along with you, it's your mother and your family.
Yeah.
How they have gone through this, and I think for a mother, especially when she was there with you, I would say like it's not just stuff. It's another level. But I think you have set such an example for others that never give up, and no matter what it is and how difficult life is, just don't give up.
During these surgeries, which took a very long time, during this period, I think in 14 or it was or so, where I am done, like I'm done with life. I remember thinking to myself, why do we live life? We live life because we have a purpose. We want a better car. We want a better something, better clothes, better outfit, better room, better office, better wife, better this. We want something better. We want all better in our life, right? That's why we're living, because we want to reach to better levels. And I thought to myself, dude, everything is gone. Now what is the point of living? I used to Google easiest ways to die. I used to research. I used to find out how can I do something without anyone knowing about it, because I don't obviously alarm everyone, right? And I went into that level of depression. There's no friends. I'm just going through back and bro surgeries. Every single part of my body is being just opened up. I'm going through insane amount of blood transfusions and needles happening. And I'm like, what is the point of all this? This is seriously? And this is less than 1 year than me just telling you how I used to live. And I remember at this one time, I'm watching YouTube because I had so much of time. I used to just watch random videos. And I watched this YouTube and the story changed my entire life, changed my perspective. And that's the reason I'm even here today. The man's name is Dewey Bonzello. I'll tell you his story in very short. He was convicted of a murder at the age of 23 for a crime he did not commit, but local thugs told the police that he's the one who did it. And at that, this many, many years back. And they took him in prison and they pinned the case on him and he was in jail. In jail, he found boxing. Boxing transformed him as a person over there as well. So I'm like, wait, this is very relatable. It related to me in that way. And he told, I'm not going to allow prison to describe how I am. I'm going to live my life and I'm going to describe it. And he fought for his case. Every day for first 5 years, he mailed a law firm called the Innocence Project every day for 5 years, and he has not got a reply. He's like, there is an injustice done to my case. Please take over my case. 5 years, no reply. Finally, they replied to him. And when they took up his case, they just understood the injustice that had been done. And this is 20 years later. Oh, one more thing. 20 years later, he got a chance for parole. So he has not even been out on parole till date. He got a chance on parole if the prosecution said, we will allow parole if you accept you did the murder. Like court convicting you is one thing, or you saying, I didn't do it. But yeah. So he said, that's when he said, I'm not going to allow jail to define who I am. And he's like, no, I still didn't do it. He did not get bail. He did not get parole. That's when he started mailing the law firm. After the law firm took up his case, they found out all the evidence to his cases are destroyed. There is no evidence. But Billy, this is the most interesting part of it. They contacted the officer at that time, the lieutenant or whatever, who took him into custody. That person has retired and he's back home now. And that person says, the day I retired, I only took one case file home when I retired because I felt that there was something wrong to that case, and that was Dewey Bonzello's case. Then they fought. After another 10 years, at the age of 53, he walks jail. The court, they declared him a free man for a crime he did not commit. At the age of 53, he walks out. 30 years of being in a fight. And when he walks, it's the most beautiful video, bro. You have to watch it.
Yes.
Okay. Dewey Bonzello's case. And he says right outside, he gets out of the court, I'm not angry with the people who put me here. I'm not angry with the people who convicted me for something, because if I'm going to be angry with them, I'm not going to move forward in life. I'm a free man, and now I'm going to live the rest of my life with the person I'm going to be, and he was so happy about it. And I just thought, man, this guy has no anger. Are you seriously telling me this? Like, usually people will be like, I'm going to get back to everybody. No, he was like, I'm not angry, because if I'm going to be angry at them, I'm not going to progress in life. And I thought to myself, dude, there's a guy out there who fought 30 years for his freedom, which is worse than my case, I would say. I am paralyzed. I know it's bad, but being inside a jail is even worse.
So like if you're paralyzed, at least you know your situation. But if you are in the jail, you can walk, and the thing is, like, you did not even commit that.
But above all that, I'm free to go any place I want, do whatever I want, meet thousands of people, eat any sort of food, and the people around it is also not that friendly. So, and I thought to myself, man, there's a guy out here for 30 years of his life, he fought. And I told myself, Sujith, what gives you the right to give up when yours is not even 1 or 2 years? Then, Yasir, I changed my mind. That one video changed my mindset. I'm like, Are, chal, bus, done. You're had enough of messed up things happen to you. Now you take control, because clearly your doctors don't have the answers to help you. Parents are, they are in the trauma itself. They cannot help you. No one has answers. Why don't you take control of your life?
Correct.
And I did. I'm like, fine. What is the first thing people told me I cannot do? There's thousands of things they told me. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. He'll never have a job again. He'll never have a wife again. All of this stuff was told to me, by the way. And I'm like, one dream, only one wish I had in my house in Mavelikira was to sleep in my room. But my room was on the first floor. And everyone told me, Sujith, it's not possible to build a lift. No one can pick you up. So we'll install something in the future. So, the stairs can have an attachment to take you upstairs. I'm like, this is the most simplest rule. Nobody allowed me to do it. So what did I do? I'm like, let me try to do that first. Now, at this stage, I'm thinking differently from people, right? Everyone's talking about walking and running, but your hands are not bad. Why don't you? So I remember the line, if you cannot fly, run. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. Why can't I crawl? I went till the end of the step. I picked my body and I placed it on the step. And with my hands on the back, I did push-ups. 18 steps up. And my mom held my leg, so my leg doesn't hit the every step I go up. And it's not easy. That was the most hardest thing. I think after the first 10 steps, I had to breathe after panting, waiting for another 2 minutes. And then I did the rest. 18 steps up. I got on top of the staircase. From the staircase, I transferred to a sofa. Then from the sofa to my wheelchair, and we went to the room. Yasir, when I did this, I was panting, I was so sweating, and it was so hard. But for the first time since the accident, I felt I got a gold medal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This one act changed my entire perspective. And the minute I did this, all these people who I used to tell I want to sleep in my room, after this, everyone came and asked me, how did you do it? And then I just thought, man, wow, this is actually how things are. People will tell you it's impossible until you do it. then they will ask you, how did you
How
do
did you
it?
do it? Yeah,
So
exactly.
when people tell you you cannot climb the steps, because in their mind, the only way I can climb the steps is if I walk, or if there's a lift. There's no other way. So people telling you something you cannot do, because in their heads that is all that they can do. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I tell people, when thousands of times when people tell you you cannot do this, it's hard, it's difficult, because according to them it's hard or difficult, not according to you, my friend. Just because you ask the question, I want to do that, how can I do that, that itself shows that you are ready to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
I strongly believe in this. When people say that it is impossible or you cannot do it, they're speaking from their own experiences and they're speaking from their own failures. Their failures cannot define your limit, right? Cannot decide your limit, basically. So if they say there's no point of trying, you cannot do it, or it's impossible, it means it's their understanding about this particular thing, whatever the action you want to take. So until and unless you don't try yourself, until and unless you give your 100%, and I think when you're giving your 100%, you always ask yourself, is it my 100%? Because till now I have turned 34 recently. Till now, I every day I ask myself, every day, no matter if I have done good, bad, ugly, whatever, have I done my best? Till now, not even once I have done my best.
Wow.
Till now, I've traveled the world. I have come from a place where the whole city, the whole society was against, the family was against, no money, no education, no degree, nothing. And I've done so much, but still, if I right now, and I'm being 100% honest in this, if I ask myself right now, if I ask this, tell me, have you done have you given your 100%? I can't say yes. I can't lie to myself. If you can see that my expressions are very different right now, my body language has changed, because no, I can't say it because I have not done my 100%.
Right.
So imagine, this is, it's not exactly what 100% is by the society or by the community or by others. It's my 100%. So in my own subconscious mind, according to me, what is my 100%? And that I have never reached.
That is so powerful what you're saying, because I completely relate to you. What you just said is so powerful, my friend. That's so true, because during certain things, even when you do it, during the process of it, am I giving my best? No, dude, I can give 10 times more. And that 10 times will always be 10 times more. That's the fire, right?
That's how you grow. Even when I was competing, I have placed second in the UK in 2019 in classic bodybuilding. So that was quite high placing. And my coach told me, like, this was your first classic bodybuilding before you were a fitness model, and you have placed second. You should be proud. I said, like, I am very proud of myself, but I don't think this is my best. They're like, are you crazy? You have placed second, and that's big, very big placement. I said, like, it's not that. If I recall that, okay, fine, I landed at this time, I drank water or I had coffee, I think if I had taken little more rest, or if I had measured my food little this way, or maybe last night if I had just like put my legs up and drop all the water from my body, I would have been first. Like, are you crazy or what? I was like, no, I'm just analyzing myself, what I have done wrong and where I could have done better. I'm not saying, I'm very much proud of myself, and I enjoy the moment, and I just want to know that where could I have done better. And that's how I always analyze everything, even just doing this podcast. How could I have done it better? What, because you need to understand why I say and why I live this kind of lifestyle, because I did not have teachers while I was growing up. Since I did not have teachers, so all my questions, I was constantly collecting all the questions, because usually when you're 3 4 years old, I was sent to madrasa, so I did not have anyone to answer me over there. So when you have like questions till the age of 13 14, that majority of your questions are not answered by anyone, then as you said, like, when no one is helping you, when no one helps, you have to help yourself. So I had to find my own answers. That's why I got this. I I'm now habitual of living this lifestyle, that I just need to find my own. How can I become better, instead of depending on someone else to teach me how to become better. This is one of the most important thing. I wanted to start my own podcast and I wanted to communicate with people like you. And that's why it's called Against All Odds. And your story is truly against all odds. And there is so much for me to learn. You have no idea that how much you're inspiring me right now.
Thank you so much, man.
This
No,
is
you
this is
just gave
amazing.
me so much of info. Like I want to adopt some things now, like in terms of, because I have certain, like you said, you ask yourself a question, right? And I think both of us, we are like people who are so charged individually
Yeah.
that we don't need an outside source of inspiration. A nice motivational medium might inspire us,
Yeah.
but our core motivation and fire to do something better and better and make ourselves better. And I think it's not even the material things, not even about status, it's not even about the cars or money. It's about the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's what even, yeah, dude, this is insane. So for me, I'll tell you how it built for me. But this is a question a lot of people have about me. Were you always like this? Were you always no, I was not always like this. Circumstances made me becoming this person. So I was absolutely not one big inspirational character. I did not think my confidence was off the roof. I did not think that I'm going to be the best in the world. None of this I thought at that age. But when the first act happened, right? Like the step climbing accident, I'm like, wow, man, like that was a spark. That was like this, wow, I just did like the impossible, and everybody was like so appreciative about it. Fast forward, surgeries and all these things are still going on, and I'm not in the best shape of my life, but still I come back to Dubai in 2015. Dad takes a visa, brings me and my mom, and we are back. So finally things are now easier because we are in Dubai. Everything is convenient. Dad, mom, sisters, and the family is all here. And I remember after a couple of 1 or 2 months, I was like telling my dad, I told my mom and dad, I'm like, I still need help, like if I have to transfer from a wheelchair, someone has to hold the wheelchair, make sure the legs are also placed at the right time when I come on the bed or chair or whatever. And I told him, I'm like, man, I need to get a little independent. I can't keep asking people for help. My sister might be in the other room. I'm like, Sophie, I want to get on the chair. And then she has to come from whatever she's doing to help me out. I'm like, what do you think you need to do? I need to get a little stronger. And I remember my boxing days is when I felt like a king, right? I told my parents, I want to go to the gym. And the gym was in the next building. And they were like, my dad asked, do you think you can do anything? I'm like, I really don't know, but I know I want to go to the gym. At that time, skin and bones, me being skin and bones with limited mobility, saying I want to go to the gym was a big step. Like a big step. I was almost so scared. Like, man, what's going to happen? Went to the gym, old trainer, old buddy. He knows me from the time when I used to take vacation and come from India. I was there for like 10 days. He knows me like that. And he was like so shocked to understand what happened. The big boy side of the gym, like all the heavyweights, I was not there. I was in the way other corner where the cardio section was happening. For the first 3 weeks, I lifted was 2.5 to 3 kilos of dumbbells. I think I was given 5 kilos after the first week or 3 weeks later. Now, 2-3 kilos is a joke, right? But that is what I could handle that time. But every day, so little progression. I think after 3 weeks, and he was there with me like throughout. Okay, and oh yes, one more thing. The gym is literally next building. It's barely a 1-car road, and then next building. My mom used to take me from home because mom is not working. She at 6 o'clock, 5:30, she used to wheel me down the ramp, cross the road, send me to the gym to the trainer, then go back home. When it's time for me to get back up, she would come down and wheel me again. This gym became my religion because I was not doing anything. I loved being in the gym, and everyone, I remember people also still looking at me. What is he doing? Like, how much can he, like that sort of looks. But I was very consistent because the only thing I was doing was gym. In the 24-hour day, as soon as I wake up, the one part I was looking forward to was 6 o'clock. Right. So I can go to, because that's when I'm doing something, not working, studying, nothing I'm doing. I didn't even finish my college at that time. Slowly, I became a little bit more confident. That became my hub. It's like a regular thing. It's like my home. I'm going there. Then I told my mom, I got a little bit strong. I told my mom, you know what? From now on, stop dropping me. I'll try to go by myself. I took the ramp, it's a slope from my building. I did that. I crossed the road and I went to the gym. So that from that 0, steps climbing was 1. It became 0.5. Going to the gym with mom's help was 1. Telling my mom to stop helping me was 1.5. Then going by myself, getting stronger, Yasir, every single day. 6 o'clock, go to the gym, 8 o'clock, get out. Eating clean, eating good. Body changed.
Yeah.
I started developing some actual serious muscles. Like 3 months later, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm seeing some nice ripped physique. I got bigger, I got nicer, I got so much more confident. For the first time in my life, I bench press 100 kilos.
Amazing.
I've never done
And
that
how
in my
long
life.
did it take you?
About 3 months, 4 months. I did two reps of 100. I was scared to do the third
even
rep.
one, at least with this, you actually lifted 100 kg and built your balance.
I did. I built my balance. That's where things got built. I used to train back. So these so much complications I faced. Just for people to understand, I've fallen in the gym many times. Okay, from my chair. I've had once time there was an incident where a dumbbell fell straight on my hand and I had an entire tear. I couldn't work out for 2 weeks. I still went back and I worked out after that. I've had surgeries where I've had even during surgery period, I had another machine that was attached inside my body for the drainage tube of my wound, and I used to carry that and I've gone to work out. I've slipped when my trainer, and there are many exercises I wanted to do but I couldn't do. For example, bicep curl, but with the rope. I wanted to do the bicep curl, but I cannot do the bicep curl like this, because if 10 kilos, if I have to lift, because I don't have core balance, my body will not allow it. I need somebody holding me like this
Back.
from the back, and then I can, so my body doesn't come forward. I've done this where I've done, so I go heavy weights because now I'm stronger.
Yeah.
12th rep, the guy thought I was done before I left it. He left me.
Okay.
And I went with the weight. Straight fall on the ground. So all this has happened. All these were reasons for me to stop. Every time something like this happened, it never stopped me. I was always back. I was always back in the gym. Built my confidence. Then when this happened, I just found myself in a way better place. My sister contacted Chris Fade saying that, and social media. That's when I got introduced to Instagram, I think in 2015 or 16. And I used to post small gymming clips of mine in Instagram just for my closest friends or people around me at that time, just to know that Sujith hasn't given up. So they were like commenting, really, wow, man, you're doing great. So this was a little bit more positive factor. Sister messaged Chris Fade, and I had no idea who even Chris Fade was, Virgin Radio's host. And I didn't even know about Virgin Radio, any of those things. She messaged Chris Fade like, hey, my brother had so-and-so injury happened to him. This was his life, but now he's working out, and sends a clip of mine. And Chris goes like, does he want to be on the show? And my sister comes and tells me, dude, we have an interview with Chris Fade tomorrow. I'm like, who? And then the previous night, I was learning who's Chris Fade, Preeti Malik Rossi. And I went to Chris Fade's show, met them, loved them. He's a brother to me. That time, Dubai heard my story for the first time. This is happening in 2016, December. 2017, he asks me to come for his launch of his brand Fade Fit. And that's where the first time I got an opportunity. He gave me an opportunity. He's like, I want you to be a speaker. And all I would want you to say is your journey, what happened to you,
story.
And how's your fitness journey and how it motivated you. The first time I took, I think, 45 minutes and I told my entire story. And the minute I said it, I saw people's reactions and everyone was like, emotionally touched and like, what is driving this guy? Like, it's not like that one thing charged me. It's 100 things that charged me. Either was it people's reactions? Was it friends was it me thinking about how to kill myself? Was it loneliness? Was it the Vaidyans treatment? Was it the needles? Was it the wounds I've seen being cut? All of this, like it's that part where a person takes a decision, a choice in his life, that do you want to give up, live, beta, to you give up and live, sit in your home, tell your folks and dad, they will take care of you financially till I don't know how many years, but they will be like, you don't have to work, because I have a very solid reason. I'm in a wheelchair, I'm paralyzed, and I'm depressed. This is all the reason I need. I don't have to, nobody's asking me go to a gym, lift weights. Nobody's asking me go to a platform. Or you take every single cell of fire and energy you have left and you prove every single one wrong. But Yasir, when that mindset happens with so much of fuel, with so much of anger, then you just want to rise and be the top.
There's a saying that when you have nothing to lose, you gain everything.
You gain everything.
You have lost, yourself truly in the nature, in the truth of universe, then you actually find yourself. Then you truly find yourself, because you have submit to nature, you have submit to universe. And that's where you realize that no matter, this is just your another form of you. You had before the accident, you had other form of you. Now this is the second form of you, but you are still a part of nature. and you found that instead of holding on to what you were before, you stopped that, and what you have started doing, what can I become now from here? Now that's a drop and the rise of nature.
It's never, that's what, it's never the physical.
Exactly.
It's never this. It's this.
It's
We
the
are this
mindset.
spiritual being. Yes, our
Exactly.
mind is makes us who we are. You're so right. I love the example you gave. It's literally, I stop trying to be
What
and
you
I
were.
try to
Yeah.
become.
Exactly.
And I try to now become who I'm meant to be, the real version.
I always, be it business or my clients or someone as inspiration as you are, I always say one thing, and that is until you're holding on to your past and you're defining everything in now by your past experiences, you're going to spoil your future. Because
Worrying about the past.
yeah, it's a time is constantly moving, and if you are holding on to your past and you're thinking that you are going to get the same thing in the future, you're just repeating, because you yourself setting your own limitations, and what is going to come in the future, you are carrying that with you from your past.
Right.
You are the one who is bringing that in the future. Change it, put different efforts, put start living a different life, start putting different efforts, and change your routine, change the way you think, and you will see the outcome will become different automatically.
I just want to add a small point to that as well. I think what happens, a lot of people, they do now, they get something and then they feel I have made it.
They hold on to
They
it.
hold on to it
Yes.
and they think I made it. And I think always a person should understand this. And I read it once and it's the best advice I've ever got in my life. It's like, always know this. The sad things in your life, that's going to pass away. Like whatever sadness, whatever trauma, whatever hurt, heartbreak, love break, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
it will pass. But also know one more thing. All the happiness, all the greatness, all the joys, that too will pass.
Will also pass.
That is like the biggest realization when I heard that. No, I'm like, so this is great. I'm, by God, I'm grateful for it. But I don't feel I've become, I've leveled up. I feel I've leveled up personally with all my, at least come on, from the stories I've been telling you, we have so much more to talk.
Yeah.
But from 2013, getting a Guinness World Record today, definitely leveled up. But have I made it? No, my friend. Not even half the way. I don't think I will ever make it where I am satisfied, because my mind will never allow me to be.
As I said, like, you have just not given your 100% as
right.
what I said.
Right, man.
It's never enough, and that's
Never enough.
the reason, because you are living in now. Because what is done is done. If you are living in now, no, because I can do more. I can talk to you even better. I can even ask you better question. I can tell you something better. How can I represent myself and this podcast, and how can I create this story of yours more inspirational, that it will connect to the audience and all the viewers who are watching right now, that how we can change their life, how can we give them that hope. I'm sure there must be many people who are on the wheelchair right now. If they are watching you, you never know, as that video inspired you, and that has changed the entire life of yours and the way you were looking into it. You never know if this podcast has inspired that one person. I don't know who it would be, but that life can change.
I completely agree, because whenever people watch something, they want to know what is that value, how to do it. Everyone like, I'll show you how, those YouTube videos, I'll show you how to do it. Just wait for another 2 more minutes. This is the best thing. And they never tell you about it unless this is not that. This is exactly telling you, they want to know what exactly, right? So it's first of all, trying as many things as you can.
So this is what I want to ask you actually. If you can just tell me your routine when it comes to, because I'm very I get very excited like a child when it comes to the routine of people, because success is one thing, living your life better is one thing, but how, how you're doing it. So when you decided to go to gym and when you started going alone, so what was your routine at that time when you hit actually your 100 kg bench press and you started building your muscles? So as you said, like, you were looking for your 6 a.m. Workout session. So how was your day like at that time?
At that time, okay, I love why you asked me that, because I was coming to that point actually with that motivational incident. The first time I spoke, I got sponsored by UFC Gym.
Okay.
So that in that event, they were one of the organizers and they sponsored me. And at that time, when UFC Gym, till then it was like 6 o'clock in the evening workout, wake up in the morning, just chill with the family, and then 6 o'clock workout and 8 o'clock. That was the highlight of my day. When I got sponsored in UFC, I was staying in Sharjah this time, at this phase of my life. And UFC was a dream for me. Like, wow, I mean, like, I just got sponsored by a gym. It was a big excitement for me. I was probably 23-ish, 23, 24 max, I guess. But the problem was UFC was in Business Bay. And I am staying in Sharjah. Now, my dad and sister goes to work, so obviously they cannot drop me or anything every day. And I needed to be everyday thing. And my mom, I cannot ask my mom to drive me down to Business Bay, wait for me for like an hour and a half till I finish my workout every single day. That's not fair. That's not good to her. So what did I do? And I started thinking, man, I really got to get this opportunity because UFC has something my Sharjah gym did not have. And that's something I was willing to do anything for. Do you know what that something is? I think you got the idea, but we'll tell it in a bit. Okay. So what I used to do was I just really thought, and I'm like, I don't have money as well. I didn't have money because I cannot spend $100 every day back and forth, So I thought, wait, you are at the border of Sharjah, which is Al Nahda. Sahara Center is there. And behind Sahara Center is Dubai. I used to wheel every single day from my house for close to 300, 400 meters. And I used to enter Sahara Center Mall. From Sahara Center Mall, I'll exit from the back. Enter the mall from front, exit from the back. And there's a footbridge, climb that, exit from the back. And then a little path is there in a sandy area. Yeah. And then you come to the Dubai side. Now you're in Gises. From there, I used to take a bus till Gises metro station. From Gises metro station, change in Union and then come to Business Bay. From Business Bay, F41 from the metro station till Bay Square. From Bay Square, wheel another 20-30 meters and enter the gym.
Yes.
And I used to work out for 2 hours over there and do the same thing in reverse, what I just told you. Again, back to from Business Bay to Gises from a bus back to Sahara, from Sahara wheel to my house.
How long it used to take?
5.5 hours, including everything. I used to leave at 5 a.m. in the morning and I used to come back home by 11:30 in the morning. And then I have my breakfast. This was my daily routine. I mean, I had time, I wasn't working, but I did all of this. The point of doing all this much when I had another gym is because UFC gym had boxing bags.
That's what you wanted.
That's what I wanted.
Exactly.
Just because they had boxing bags, I wanted to travel that far. And I was willing to. And I tell people, man, I want to transform my life. I want to transform my body because people are not happy. Somebody, something. I like, do you have a gym in your own building? I do. My friend, you have a guy over here in a wheelchair with 2 headphones wheeling for an entire half a day. And
from coming one city to another
city to another city, literally. Because I had a goal, I had a purpose. My purpose was I wanted to box, but was I willing to do everything? That is like you said, am I giving my 100%? I could have stopped saying, shit, I'm sorry, I don't have money. And that wouldn't be my
you could have stopped like, this is it. I mean, okay, fine. I could not get up and I did not have money or something like that. But now finally I'm going to gym. Okay, let's stop. But you did not stop there because you could not convince yourself like this is your 100%. You wanted to do more and more. And still, I'm sure you want to do more.
That's how it developed for me. That's what I'm trying to say. So from that little bits, because I also needed to be understanding in a phase that what is how is the mind of mine working and where do I place myself as an individual in terms of limitations, in terms of what I think about everything, about life and the city I'm in and about my growth and everything. So all these little acts, then when I start, reflecting, that's when I understand, dude, you're doing so much things that people I cannot even think of. People would never do it. And when the story is being told out there, people are amazed. Like, how did even someone think of doing this? That too in a wheelchair. The reason I say in a wheelchair, because it's definitely a little bit more harder than a person walking, because I have thousands of reasons to give up. But why didn't I give up? Because I want to bounce back to life. Life is given to you one time. If you're not going to make the best out of it, and with me doing such acts and understanding that life has so much of greatness, why in the hell would I stop now?
Exactly.
So that just fueled me to do more things. And then 2018, and then one thing landed to the other. I got invited by Dubai Tourism to be an official ambassador for Dubai Fitness Challenge from 2017 onwards. So every year. So when I got that recognition, I felt finally some effort was being recognized.
Yes.
Then some media came in between. People started hearing about the story. In 2018, I was talking to Chris and I was like, I want to do something, man, like, phenomenal and it had to be physical. That would, make people feel, wow, if this guy can do it for something I thought he couldn't, and people saw it, hearing a story is one great thing, but if they saw it in front of their eyes, and this somebody told me as a joke in Dubai Muscle Show many years back, but I thought, why not do that joke? And that joke was, do you want to pull a car? It wasn't a joke. He was telling me, he was a strong man. Do you want to pull a car? I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? I'm like, why not I pull a car? I called my buddy. We went to Mohesna and I started practicing pulling cars. So when I pulled one car, now this is a few facts people don't know. I started pulling one car, it was a little too easy. So I started pulling two cars. So I had one, my Nissan Sunny, I had my friend's car from the back, we attached it. And I had a rope in on my chest, which was connected to the cars. And I used to start pulling two cars and I felt something was wrong. This is not that hard. We changed the direction of the car. And when we changed the direction of the car, it was hell on earth. The car barely moved half an inch.
Ooh.
And I thought, damn it, maybe that was something I don't know, understand. I'm like, this is the way I should be pulling. Every single day I used to be pulling this car for practicing. Then later the blunder is what we realized, that the car was a slight uphill. Yeah, but I used to be practicing with two cars on a slight uphill, like very like with the normal eyes, it's not visible. And I had a third car as an anchor and a rope attached to the car, and I was pulling that. So, and the rope is attached to my chest. So I used to pass out doing this, but I was so determined to do it because I told Chris that I'll do two cars, and I used to pass out almost. People used to throw water on my face, get back up, wait for 5 more minutes, try it again. This is how I practiced. Finally, is when we realized it was a small uphill. On the day of the event, I told him we'll do one car because my back took a bad toll. And on the day of it, thankfully the surface was flat, but I pulled that car, which weighed 1,250 kilos, for a good 10 meters. And the students saw it. This was in Nebraska International students. And I told the students, what if I asked you before I did this event that, would you think a person in a wheelchair can pull a 1,200 kilo car? Many would say no. But what if you saw the impossible happen in front of you?
Exactly.
Wouldn't you change your perspective? Hey, this is what the limitation I thought, but it's possible. We all lead by example. When someone does something like Roger Bannister, people never thought a man cannot run under 4 miles under 1 minute until he finally broke that barrier in by 3.
And then everyone started after.
Today it's a normal routine apparently.
I mean, even the school kids can do that, right?
But it took one person to change that entire.
Did you notice like how much you have changed your life by getting involved in these kind of activities? You have created a surrounding and the people around you who are looking at you as an inspiration, and your thought process and your subconscious mind is constantly driven more and more towards the growth and towards the continuous progress, and that's what I strongly believe. That's Japanese word kaizen, and that's actually, I have a program called kaizen, so where the continuous improvement is there, that you're continuously progressing. So you have literally created while being on the wheelchair, and after going through all the shit happens to you in 6 years, then 18 surgeries, but you just did not give up and you just wanted to continuously improve. Do whatever you can with whatever you have. Yeah. And that's what you have proved.
For me, because, at that moment it was so, which I later came to know, when I improved my life, because for my sole purpose, for making life better, my family was happy.
Yes.
When I started my family is now calm. Oh, thank God. He's doing good. He's getting recognized. He's doing good. He's looking good. He's feeling good. He's talking well. Now people are more positive about its outcome. When it further became more, people started messaging me, and they were telling me their deepest problems. So because I was a speaker and I was in fitness, I was not a coach or trainer or anything at that time. I was just doing fitness to motivate people. If I can, you can. Basically, that was it. And I started getting thousands of DMs. Like literally at that point, a minimum 20 to 30 DMs with people talking about their most personal problems to me, asking if I can have a solution for them. Like people saw me as an example, saying that if this guy has gone through this much adversity, he might have a solution for my problem. And I used to be so careful in replying to these people. I mean, I don't want to take stories out, but it is the most personal things, man. I cannot imagine the way it comes from way older people to me, way younger people, things they couldn't even tell their family, and I've helped people go through so much of that, helping them. I've been through with a person through an abusive relationship. I've helped them come out, and I was in touch with them for more than 8 months. So, I'm not throwing, I used to take everyone, speak to them, many people in terms of gymming advices. How do I start? Then I started getting, the things that touched my heart is when, someone writes, I was doing nothing today. I saw your video and now I feel I want to do something. Someone writes, I saw you working out at 11 o'clock in the night in the gym, even though you had the most busiest day. I'm for sure going to the gym tomorrow. Or somebody, I'm going to the gym today. And the one incident that really touched my heart was when I was at a school. I gave a talk. I think it's Gulf Indian School. I'm not really sure about the name. And I gave the talk, and so many students came up to me for photos and selfies. And this one girl, 8th standard girl, she comes up to me, like this much. She comes to me like, sir, I woke up in the morning today and I thought it was just like every other day. They told somebody's coming to speak. And it was just a normal day. I didn't think anything about today. It was just a normal day. And I didn't know what to do. I'm usually like this. But after hearing you speak, today I think I know what I should do. When an 8th standard year old girl, that child came and told me, and I felt it in my heart. I made a difference and I sparked something in a child. I'm like, Sujith, you have a responsibility not just for yourself. It's not a pressure, Yasir. It's more of, it's a purpose.
Yeah.
It's not pressure, it's purpose. Because now I feel I have that purpose. When people see me and they can change their lives, dude, what bigger blessing can I get in life than someone changing their lifestyle for better? Can someone become stronger? Someone mentally become stronger, physically become stronger, which is even better. All of that.
That's a true success. When you had a passion for something, you developed a passion, and then you succeed in that for yourself, and then you started inspiring and influencing others' lives to do the same thing. That's how you become successful. And my friend, you have done that.
I think one thing we both might share over here is like, it's not even about the money. Yes, I do want money. I do want a good status. I do love the awards and everything, but that's not the goal of why I do it. The goal is literally to fight and to think, wow, now which version can I be? Which better version? So the drug, I think at least we both are
the
on
value you
the
add.
value on like how
Yes.
better, like what more, and you will never reach that, right?
It's not what you get; it's what you become.
It's what you
You're
become.
becoming, right?
Wow. Yes, it's what you become. It's the seed that you plant, and it literally makes the biggest choices on if you're going to gain something or not. Just for an example, since we just talk a little bit about the fitness part of it, when you're gymming, right? When you're gymming and you want a good body, it's not just about lifting weights. People can lift thousands of kilos, hundreds of kilos, and you will never get in the shape if you don't sleep and don't eat right. But the toughest part is eating right. People can gym and still sleep, but I think eating is a big temptation because you're craved to all these unhealthy meals. And eating healthy is not the sometimes most fun thing. But what happens, I think a lot of people are going to relate this. When you gym religiously, properly, and then you eat clean, even though it might be boring or bland food at times, you start seeing a difference in your body.
Yeah.
When this goes on for a time, by default, your brain will then, because you have somewhere allowed you to find, let me eat it for a couple amount of times. But that 6th time, no, your brain will program yourself into, this is good food. I will not even touch if there's a Kit Kat bar over there. I will not touch it. You know why? Because I don't want to lose the good things I have in life.
Exactly.
So that then motivates you to lead that good path. So mind has to be a very strong thing. Even though the things that we fielded, a lot of temptations, and we as humans, we are emotional character and being, temptations are a one thing. Temptations can come in the form of laziness. In what you tell yourself.
Self-talk.
There's self-talk. There's a guy, I forgot his name. He's a big podcaster. He tells one thing is like, I never use the T word. T word is I am tired. Why? Because, for example, Yasir, now this is the first event of my day. I have one happening a little later on. But let's say I had 4 of them back to back. If I met you in the morning, it was such a tired. I was so tired yesterday. The third person, what did you do? I was so tired. When I keep using this, I am. By default, I'm programming myself.
Whatever you say, tired, happy, sad, this is your self-talk. You're saying, I'm tired, right? Your subconscious mind listen, and subconscious mind does not understand. You're just faking it. You're just saying it for the sake of showing it to people, or you're actually tired. But subconscious mind listen again and again, and actually my boss is saying to work on it. Let's make his body tired. And suddenly you start feeling tired because you yourself direct your subconscious mind to feel in certain direction. That's the reason your surrounding is so important. You need to have people, for an example, like if you are training, you need to have people who are lifting more than you, right? If you are in business, you need to surround yourself with people who are better than you, smarter than you, who make more money, who have better ideas, who have a better product than yours, so that your subconscious mind constantly receiving from their positivity, right? So that you constantly grow, you constantly collect that information, process, put into action, and make it a habit.
That is why people say it's very important who you serve. You are the 5 people that you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
People say that for a reason, and that's a fact. Because when you're with, I've been with crowds as well. That was so negative. That was not doing anything. Believe it or not, when I came back to Dubai, I had this bunch of friends. Nothing. Like all day, their only life was work. There's no motivational talk. It's just rubbish gossip or some random nothing. There was zero growth. And I found myself for a very long time until I realized all this side of things as well. When you are with people who are doing better, yes, they must be enjoying and partying, but at the same time, they are also in the trip of becoming better versions themselves in terms of the mindset. Good, healthy crowd, good crowd. It can even be 1 or 2 people, but it can also be 10 people. But then your life changes. You start becoming more optimistic. You start feeling better. You start having better energy, connects, doing better things, exploring more, because some person can open your mind in terms of adventure.
Just to make this a little bit more define what you just said, because many of my clients, struggle with this. So I would like to know from your point of view that what do you think about, like spending your time with people and the surroundings, having the surroundings which you know that there is no, it's not aligned with your goals, it's not aligned with you, what is your agenda of life and how you want to live. Many people don't have a routine in their day. So how important these things are and how much you have actually controlled by while you decided like, oh no, I want to become and I want to be a better person than who I am.
Number one thing I understood from my shift itself was when I was hanging out with these low productive people. I'm not saying they're bad people, but I was saying is that they were not doing me any good. They were not making money for me, or they were not progressing for me in any way.
What is that thing that why people spend time and connect with such people when there is nothing coming out?
I think like for me at that time, I was also not doing anything. I also got stuck into that mindset because this mindset, so that I also became them. It's not like I had a purpose to go there. When you get stuck in this circle for a couple of times, you also then start becoming that person, and you think this much is it. Until then, I started deciding I have to do something better, and I started seeing better people, better conversations, better energies. I'm like, this is better than where I am. It is like from black and white, you start seeing color. You want to start seeing color more, right?
Exactly.
So that is the shift then I have. And what did I do personally? I've cut out so many people. I stopped hanging around with the wrong crowd anymore. I make excuses till date. I tell them, sorry, I'm that busy, I'm this thing. Because I don't have the time of energy. Because why am I? Just in short, now I would ask you a question. Please ask yourself, this is your life. This is your life. This is your everything that will happen for you. It's for you. There's no one going to give that to you. You have to do it yourself. So then you have to make a choice, right? If you want the good or the bad. So when I ask myself, why not out of go hang out with them? Why am I going to make my energy bad? Why? They are not helping me. They're not my best friend. They want probably something from me. That's why they're just there. Why will I consciously allow my life to go bad? Samely, why will I consciously drink some junk, Coca-Cola every single day of my life and make my body become bad? Why will I talk to some toxic people? I've remember this is something on that toxic people. You have to know when to cut them and not keep them for sympathy, due to sympathy. Meaning, many people will be like, in a group, dude, why do you stay out? Arey, but guy, he's toxic. He complains a lot every time, but he has nobody. That person has to be changed. And there are
Define the points of like toxic people. What do you think about who is toxic?
I think people who are toxic are the ones who are always negative. You tell them something, they are like, oh man, this is not going to happen. They always, when you talk about personally, not just like that, but when you talk personally, then they always have something negative to say about it.
They're
always
toxic.
down, Arey, nahi hoga re. It will not happen, man. This is all this.
So they, even when you're positive, they have something negative to.
Yasir, there are people I have had conversations with, and they try to still stick on, and I try to consciously charge them with positivity. Nothing happens. They just program like that.
And other points.
And toxic is what I don't think people who gossip a lot are nice.
Yeah.
So I don't try to surround myself. fun little 2-3 things within a circle is different, but people are there who talk bad about you, right? About somebody who you, for example, okay, good example I'll give you. We are 3 friends, let's say Yasir, you, me, and C, Mr. C. Mr. C will come and tell me, we all 3 always, we chill together, whatever we do, but Mr. C will come and tell something bad about you. And it's very dark, but it's like, Array, he's in the circle, so I'm not saying anything, let it be. I think C is a toxic person. You know why? C will come and tell you, Array, Sujith is this. So these kind of people are very dangerous, I would say. And I had people like this in the crowd.
Any other point? See, I already know, but I want my viewers, because I don't want to sound like I'm teaching something to them, but it's coming from you. It's very legit, and that's the reason why you have succeeded in life and where you have reached and earned all of this, whatever you have, despite of this and despite of the accident, all the hardship, the 6 years you have wasted in your life, while just like trying to become normal, like normal, even just to breathe, even just to eat, or just to feel normal. And that's why it's so important for me to let the audience know, the viewers know, that what kind of life they should live if they want to succeed.
I was just coming to that because, even there was a small risk for me at that age cutting all these people out. You know why? Because this is the only circle I knew.
Yeah, you'll become all alone.
I'll become all alone.
So didn't you get scared of becoming alone?
But it was becoming to a point where, since I was doing a lot of self-talk is super important. What you tell, that's why the words you use, I am, is very important. You cannot just say, I am tired, I'm not going to. Just fake it, dude.
So what is your favorite self-talk for yourself?
Okay, so I love this. Okay, so I have a mirror in front of my room, okay? And it's like right in front of my bed. And I've been doing this from years, but subconsciously it just naturally happens. And I look in the mirror and I'm like, it's not even more than the talk, it's the look I give myself. And I'm like, dude, what a handsome this thing you are. And like, you're the best, And I look at myself and I check myself out. And if somebody can do something, it's you, bete. And I do this every time, I'm like, even with people, I confidently tell, listen, I'm going to be a legend. The whole world, there's no doubt in that. But when I tell with 100% conviction because I believe it. I completely believe I'm going to be the best in whatever I do. Like whatever it may be. And it was a small example. I'm sitting, this world record, there was so much complications happening with approvals, okay? This happened on 12th March 2000, which is a Sunday.
Yeah.
On Friday evening, and I didn't have training. I got fever that week. I was on antibiotics. I had 2 days of training before the world record happening. I'm sitting for coffee on Friday night, and I only came to know on Saturday that it's going to happen on Sunday. So that was the preparation time I had, 1 day. And even though, on physical terms, I only had 2 days in that entire month, but mentally actually knowing, okay, fine, you know what, approvals have come, we're going to do it. So on Friday night, I'm sitting with somebody. I'm like, they're telling me, Sujith, you just had, you were on antibiotics. You have 2 days of training. You have a wound that's still there. And approvals, it might or might not happen. But it's 8.71 kilometers, dude. And wheeling, even running or jogging 8.7 kilometers is quite hard. Yes. And you're going to be wheeling. You have no training. Do you think you can do it? And you know what I told him, Yasir? If there's somebody in Dubai who can do it, it's me. With full conviction, I told him, if there's somebody in Dubai who can do it, it's only Sujith. And I did it. I killed myself doing it, but I did it. But that is the confidence I tell myself. So I think I'm programmed. In the back of my head, I know I'm not the best. I'm not the best. There's always somebody who's going to be better than me at rapping, at fitness, at a body, at a skill, at a look. That's a fact.
Exactly.
You cannot be the strongest man. You can be a strongest man in this gym. You can be a strongest man in a small. You cannot be the strongest man in the world. There's obviously someone going to be better. And that is important because that will give you the fire to be better. Right? I don't say people should envy somebody, but if you're looking at someone, you should only wish that you can be like their level or look at how did they reach that level so you can make your level better. Amazing. Not put somebody down. Yes. There are people, coming back to the toxic thing, there are people who put other people down intentionally. I've had groups where there's always that one person that people pick on. There's one guy who always picks on, puts down people with his humor or jokes or whatever. Yeah. And people think such a funny guy, but literally you should know the difference right now. Exactly. That is a guy who feeds on egos of putting people down, and that's a very toxic person because that person, and I made this group realize that this was that person. Yeah. And that person was finally then asked to leave because that's a very toxic trait. So you have toxicity happening in many different ways and many different levels.
It reminds me of that, when I was a kid, when I used to come back from madrasa and I had no one, because my dad was like mostly at farm, and majority of the time I was spending with my mother or my sisters. So when my sisters used to go to school, I was not in school, and if any of my relatives or cousins, if we are playing or something, of course, since I was not living with them for the longer period of time, and I was coming just like after 1 year or 2 years, when you're kids, like they don't know how to treat someone who is not living with them. And I used to feel very offended all the time because I didn't like certain things, and we used to fight, and I just used to go to my mom and I used to cry. And they always used to say like, oh, you're such a mama's boy, such a mama's boy. And today, when there was a time when it came, and I replied to them like, yeah, I think, don't you love your mother? That the person who actually gave you birth and the person who actually raised you up, you don't love that person? Like, no, we do. I said, like, that's what am I doing? Like, what's wrong in that? If I cannot love my mother, then who am I supposed to love? So, that when it comes to making fun, people need to think before they are actually making fun, what kind of fun it is, and what they're saying. So someone who is a mama's boy, someone who is,
How it affects somebody.
yeah, for an example, like when I started, oh, you only train all the time. I mean, working on my body, is it bad? Oh, yeah, you eat your vegetables and you eat your boiled chicken. So is it bad? And all those people are unhealthy right now. All those people have no muscles, nothing, and they are where they are.
I think we spoke about this. You only told me this. It's like you are doing, like when you're doing this, right? For example, let's take this particular example. They wish for that,
Yeah.
but they don't have the discipline and the commitment and the consistency to get that. That's why they make fun of the person. Example, successful person. Arey, he's just always in the gym. He's just always. But what is the result of that person in the gym? He's up in life. He's good. He's healthy. He feels the best, and he's living his good life. He might not be partying out. He might not be catching up with friends every other day. But that is what it takes.
You won't
priorities.
You won't believe someone actually who always made fun of me. And actually, when I started becoming successful, he wanted to work with me. Just because I am making money, so I was making money, so he wanted to make money as well. And literally, he copied everything from me while I gave him the chance. So there is always learning, and these are the toxic people that you get to face and meet. And I strongly believe that whenever you are coming across these kind of people, learn the lesson. Always believe in the lesson. What is the lesson in this? What the universe is trying to teach you? Because we have a desire to become something. For an example, you must be having a desire to become something in your life. I'm sure you have a goal, right? So when you are going through in this journey, when you're passing through this journey, and there are people who are coming in your life and they are using you in wrong way, or they're just wasting your time or something, always, once this happened, of course, move away from that, but always question that what this guy actually taught me, because this is directly connected to your main goal. This was the lesson which you needed to reach there. Always remember that. That's how I see it. I never believe, yes, do not repeat that, because this has given you an opportunity to figure out such people. You know the characteristic of this person, the kind of a person you have been through, and this will never happen again. That's a learning. And always have your entire case study. Okay, these have these kind of characteristics. Never get along with them.
So these are people. I had this group when I initially came to Dubai in 15. I didn't have a circle. That group, the group which I keep talking about, right? And they used to take me for a chai. For me, going to chai was literally going to Burj Khalifa and having an atmosphere. No, I'm very serious. For me, getting out of my house, even though I was gymming was my only thing going on. But going for a chai with these guys was like, wow, man, this is like the best thing that can happen. And almost every other night or whenever they have nothing to do. And but I used to see they used to go outside to other places like for party. I'm like, dude, why are you not calling me? Arey, nahi, there's ramp, there's no steps, it's all this, too crowded. You will not. They never involved me that side. It was like, it was a lot of still seen with sympathy. Fast forward, when I started leaving that and I started focusing on myself and I started becoming a little popular on social media, and I'm not going to say success, but a little bit more better than where I was.
Yes.
All the calls started coming back to me. Hey man, where are you? Why are you not calling us? When I'm with parties celebrating, I was partying with a celebrity. Oh, you're not calling us now. You forgot us now. Matlabi, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's why it's in terms when Yasir was talking about toxic, you really have to understand why is a person in your life, or they're genuine with you or not. There are a lot of people, especially we're living in Dubai. You have to be, there are great people, but at the same time, unfortunately, there are also people who will try to take things that you have for the work and the efforts that you have made. For me, it can sometimes come from somebody who wants to be a part of my success because I am in a highlight. I've worked really hard to be where I am, but it was not even for the, this and all came later, my friend. I didn't even think about all this. For me, it was just to make my life better so that my family is a little bit more relieved that this boy's life is not over. And then during this journey, I discovered so much this thing. I met wonderful people who never wanted anything from me, but wanted to give and add, because their lives also are in that level of energy.
Yeah.
Energies matter.
Exactly.
I think sometimes
it's a vibe.
the people who keep telling you negative all the time, or gossip, they're energy suckers.
Yes.
I think today, me and you, I can't even last 5 minutes with someone like that. Like, I would get so done with their negative energy that I'm like, dude, can you literally just stop and see where you are, or ask yourself, why are you doing this? Like, I think it's so negative for him or whoever it may be, him or her.
Yes, definitely. Is the energy and the vibe is so important. Okay, so if I ask you, since I work with people's mind, and that's what I have, that's why I have mastered, or that's my skill, that I understand how human brain function and how you think and how you can make it stronger. So going through all of this in your life, all the situations, even with building, achieving something, or pulling a car, what your thought process have been. I strongly believe, because the thought process, what I'm saying, is not majorly throughout the day, but it's the night, because that decide your anchor for tomorrow, that you will start from here. Suppose if you're climbing the mountain, okay, you have reached here, and that's where it's very important what's your plan for the next day. So what's your thought process at that time, and how do you plan the next day?
Over the years, what I do today is I do the toughest thing in the morning. Because what I used to do is, I believe that is because there are certain things during the day I would have procrastinated later on. I'm like, Array, it could be either sending an email to somebody during to work, I mean, work wise. Oh God, that email is so tough, difficult. It might be a conversation to talk to somebody. It might be working out, which is a very tough thing. Even for fitness lovers, it's not like every day you're feeling 100%.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
mean,
you feel
every day you wake up, and come on, I own the TYB, the whole gym, the biggest gym and the best, most advanced gym in the world. When I come to work out in the morning, it's not every day that I want to
you
train.
feel 100%. Yeah.
And sometimes, oh, why this is 4 o'clock? Why 4:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
And it's very easy for me. Even if I will not show up, no one can question me.
Right.
But I never do that. Even if I'm late for 10 minutes, I just want to drop a message. Sorry, man.
Right.
I'm too tired because yesterday was like 18 hours. I could not.
How I plan it today is, over the I think this was last year is when I made this shift, is when I started discovering which was my most one activity that is very essential to me, and that was the most difficult for me to actually do, because there are days then towards the end of the day I'll be so tired that I would not end up doing it, and that was working out. So I start with that. I schedule my day accordingly. Then my work comes first. I try to keep a lot of distractions aside. I try to be off. So the thing about social media, even though it's essential for us, it can get so toxic in terms of you looking at other people's posts and thinking, man, how does this person have this? I wish I had this more. It's great to dream big, but it's very harmful if that can become an addiction and you're seeing 1,500 posts and doing nothing and just sitting behind a phone for it. So I try to keep all those things aside, focus on my work, focus on my events. I'm into music, so I rap. So yeah,
Okay,
I have a music video out of 2020. This year I'm hopefully planning to do a lot more music videos. So I try to focus on a little bit of music. There's a skill I'm trying to learn. So I try to spend at least an hour or two on that skill. I'm currently working on it. And I want to reveal it, but I don't want to reveal it because I really wanted to just come out to the public. And so these are things I try to finish like way ahead. Then evenings, there's a lot of chilling happening with friends and all. But the main question is, before the night, and I've practiced it, and thankfully it has worked out well, is because the previous night before going to bed, I dream as in you can dream, you can fantasize anything, right?
Visualize.
I visualize how the day will start, what exactly I'll be doing, especially when it's a very important day. Like for example, today morning I had to wake up at 6 o'clock, come on your show, this thing, meet this ism, and it's a very hectic journey. When you're staying alone and to do a lot of things and prepare for it. I would visualize that the first thing I'll do, I'll be actually getting up, I'll do this brush, I'll come, I'll wear the clothes which is here, which I've ironed already. And then this I'll go, I'll visualize seeing you, meeting you. Then that thing, by the next day, my body is ready for it and programmed for it.
So again, here, just to add on to this, what is happening to your brain over here is that you give signals to your neurons, and your neurons start working, and you start preparing your body for the next day. So when you will wake up, because your body does not have a brain, it's controlled by your subconscious mind, by your nervous system. So when you send signals to your neurons, and signals are thoughts, and thoughts are whatever you're planning, visualizing. When you start visualizing, start sending signals to your entire body. Tomorrow, get ready for that. Just for an example, you have not planned a workout tomorrow morning. Let's say you have a rest day, which is Sunday, right? And suddenly you wake up and I say, like, let's go. It's like, oh, it's my rest day. I did not plan. I didn't want to. And so you will be like very fuzzy about it. You will not like, oh yeah, let's go. No one. I'm telling you honestly on the camera, it's like not a single person in the world, even athlete, bodybuilder, whoever they are, celebrities, whoever, not majority of the time you like working out.
Yeah.
Majority of the time you don't like working out. You just do it because you're committed to
You
do
just
it.
show up.
You just show up.
I think the hardest part, I think, is showing up. The easiest part is working out.
Yes.
The easier part is, but showing up is the hardest part.
And especially if you have not planned it,
Yeah.
It will be so difficult for you to actually say yes for the workout. You'll find like, it was not in the plan. I didn't want to, because your brain did not accept it. Your brain did not visualize it.
The reason I said about earlier the phone keeping away,
Yeah.
it's a very small factor. But why I said it's important, why I've still mentioned is because your body, I think people should, I think I'm not wrong, you're the expert here, but at least this is what I think about myself. Your body is always trying to be, it's like a little child running always to the balloon, or always to the
comfort.
So your body is always trying to run to the comfort side.
That's the easiest, because no one is replying to you there. And I tell you,
Your safe zone.
It can become difficult for you if you have someone who is messaging you on that phone and you don't want to read that message. You don't want to be a part of that conversation. Suddenly you will leave the phone. Because suddenly this becomes very uncomfortable for you. But since in phone there are many apps, you can be on one app to another app, and many different apps, which is a trap again. Again, it's just this device is designed to create a lot in your life, and also to destroy a lot.
So I completely agree. So like it's trying to always be on a safe side, comfort zone. So you as an individual, how do you grow and how do you expand and how do you see the universe that's actually in your mind? And there's a huge potential world out there, which a lot of 90% of the people I don't even think I've seen or realized. And we are trying to do that and tell you that we are living examples and we have seen it, and we are trying to, we're not probably at the pinch of the start of it. There's so much more to explore.
Definitely.
The reason the phone part, coming to that, keeping it aside, is because I need to at least tell myself that even my temptation, my mind can control. If I cannot control, oh man, this is my weakness, I cannot control it. My friend, you lost, right?
Yeah.
You lose in one single place. Let's say you're winning in 100 places. You lose in one single place. That is a gateway to lose in the second one.
And especially when no one is watching, you're constantly losing. Until when someone is watching you, suddenly you become conscious, or like, how can I do that? I'm not doing it. Anyway, so what's your, from here onwards, life till here? Amazing. First of all, huge congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Huge inspiration you are. And of course, there's so much I have learned in this. What's your plan now for the future? As you already said that you're learning something. And
yeah, so that's a small passion hobby, because I started off as I started my journey as a motivational speaker, like a proper profession where I got as, not a profession, I mean as in where I started getting paid for my speaking. Fitness just happened to be, but that's when I took my certification to be a personal trainer so I could train clients. So I do enjoy training clients. I do train clients, but I don't take a lot of clients because of the time barriers I have. And I myself have a very busy schedule. So I do take clients. And music just happened to be, is because shortly, and I know I'll come to that, because in 2017, I was in a hospital, on a hospital bed, in April 17th was my birthday. And I was messaging Chris Fade. I was like, dude, it's so boring over here. And it's my birthday tomorrow and I'm here for a surgery. And on 17th April, he shows in the hospital with a 2 big pair of dumbbells to gift me, right? And that time I just showed him, because I love rapping. I've always been in hip hop music. That time, for the first time in my life, I wrote a small rap about my situation. Currently, what I was happening, with whatever words I could rhyme. I've never learned anything. And I put it in a notepad and I recorded it. And I just showed him that, just, hey bro, see, this is something I did over here while I was this time. He goes on the next day and he plays it on the radio with a beat to it, and it sounded nice. And then Selena Jetli, the actress, she tweeted about me, and my sister was like, dude, Selena just tweeted about you. And that year, she nominated me for Masala Awards Most Inspirational Personality, and I got that award. And in my head, something which I would never think of putting out there, because what rapper I am here, I like one, I've not learned anything. Just for fun, I wrote.
Yes.
Accidentally, when somebody put it out there, whether it be good or not, but accidentally when someone heard, someone liked, I got a award in front of like big Bollywood celebrity. It was a big recognition for me. My family was there. That makes me the most happiest.
Amazing.
So I'm like, I never then allowed fear to take over me. So anything that's scary today, that'll almost be on the verge of death, I would go try it, because I want to feel alive. And I think a person only feels alive when you're that close to fear. That's why courage never comes in doing it. Courage comes after you did it.
Yes.
So that's why you have to do the most things that scares you the most, go do it.
And the biggest fear is when you're constantly thinking about that particular thing to do. You're just building more and more fear, because your brain is not just particularly actually seeing that when you're doing it or making you feel, your brain is thinking about all the wrongs and the opposite of that.
And
that's why it's so difficult.
I think our brains always want to go into the secure zone, right?
Yes.
We are programmed like that. Then it's our job as individuals while we grow to get out of that program, right?
That's why discipline is so important in
Discipline,
life. Discipline, consistency, commitment is so important, because it will always, fight with your own mind and always put you in the position where you will constantly keep moving forward and keep growing in life. Well, this is amazing to have you on my podcast, an amazing story. So much I have learned from you, and I'm sure the audience who are watching right now, the viewers, they will take a lot from your story. And I think, as you said, the toxic people, the person who are, who are not adding value to your life, stay away from them, and never ever give up in your life. And especially since you are so young, and you have faced so much in the past 10 years, 11 years now, and I think this is something which is just phenomenal, and I really appreciate and salute you for that. This is something not just for them, for everyone, but for me also to take from you, that you have inspired me so much, just to I don't know what I will do more from all of this, because this is so much energy I have gotten, inspiration, that I'm sure I'm going to put into my work and create more. I think the number one thing which I have learned from you is, like, if you can do from here and reach to this Guinness Book of World Record and create so much. And my purpose of life is to inspire and to change lives, inspire people and my clients and everyone, all my followers, and transform them. So I want to do that with more intensity and with more honesty. I want to define my purpose even better. So thank you so much for inspiring me.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think we give so much of value to people. I learned so much from you. I got in so much from you. I love the way how especially we spoke about, end of the day, it's nothing to do with your body. It's all your mind.
Exactly.
And your mind will also fight with that same mind. So it's a big battle, and it's literally beating which it's like there are two wolves. Which wolf are you feeding?
Exactly.
That's basically the whole thing. And it's an absolute pleasure. I mean, finally to meet you and seeing this amazing gym and what you're doing, is because I think it's very important. A person feels on how they look and how their physique is, and you're doing the biggest, most important job over here.
Thank
transforming
you so much.
lives.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine, and thank you for coming to TYB. Thank you for being on my podcast. So Sujith,
Thank you.
thank you so much. And guys, he was such an inspiration. I mean, this podcast is, I would say, like, one of the best for me. For me, this was one of the best, and I think there is a lot to take from Sujith's story and his struggle and his hardships. What a guy. So thank you for watching us, and see you next time.